Hey folks, a few of you had asked for a video of this little shaper running that I just finished cleaning up. I think most of you know the story behind it. I bought it from a guy who had bought out an entire high school, so this thing spent a lot of its life in a high school. And when it came here, it had been stored for a while, and the top was completely rusted. The fence extensions didn't even slide. A lot of the mechanisms back here were completely seized up, and this post, and of course there's another post that holds the guard over the spindle. It was completely rusted and wouldn't move. Now, after a bunch of time and a bunch of elbow grease, everything's cleaned up now. Everything works really well. The spindle itself, to my ears, sounded dry. It was quite smooth, but it sounded very dry. And when I got in there and took a look at it, sure enough, all the old grease had sort of turned waxy, and there wasn't a heck of a lot of it left. So thanks very much to Jack, especially for walking me through the process. But I took it all apart, got all the old grease out of there, which was just a delightful, messy job, and replaced it with some new fancy stuff that he had suggested. And just as he suspected, it seems even smoother and is certainly a lot quieter now. So I'm going to fire it up for you so you can hear it. The VFD is, I know it's not set up properly. It's just temporary. I've got to figure out where it's going to go and how much of the respective cables I'm going to need. So this is just a temporary setup. I know it's not. I know it's not proper. You'll hear a bit of a rattle when it fires up, because I have the door open in the back, so you get a little bit of a sheet metal rattle. But it's set up right now. The belts are on the fastest speed, which I think is 7,000 RPMs for this. And I've got the VFD set up to 60 Hertz, so that's what it should be running at it. And this is what it sounds like. So I can easily have a conversation right beside this thing at 7,000 RPM with a normal voice. So I think that's pretty good. It sounds wonderful. It's a lot quieter than it was before. It's as smooth can be, and I'm extremely happy. To my uneducated ear, it sounds pretty good. What's neat about this thing is I think we figured out this is probably from the 1950s. What's interesting about this is the top of this thing is the flattest top in my shop, and I've got all made in Canada general stuff. Some of it's a little bit newer than this, and some of it's darn near the same age. So I think that's pretty neat that this has lasted this long and stayed as flat as it is. I do have a few goodies with it so far. Thanks Rod Sheridan. He suggested this Felder insert cutter head. Took a while to get it. I guess they had to build it and then ship it over here. So, but it's obviously very well machined. It's very easy to use. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. I have a few different inserts for it. I'm amazed at how smooth the finish is right off the shaper. It's fantastic. I think most of you guys said that's the way it would be, and but still, it's surprising how nice it is. I decided on this rebate head from CMT. It has shear cut, and of course the advanced cutters to shear the fibers ahead of the main cutters. It does an amazing job. I've run a bunch of different wood through it, all different directions, and it gives an amazing smooth finish. And it's neat to see it cutting off shavings instead of pulverizing it like a router does. Very nice thing. I'll use that a lot. That cost almost as much as the shaper did. It's a long story, but I have a lot of tongue and groove to do over the next year or so. I decided to invest in what most people call sort of the Cadillac. That's a freeborn tongue and groove set, and I'll be putting a lot of miles on that. For what I'd like to do for the rest of it, I don't think anytime soon I'm going to make it immaculate and redo all the paint and that sort of stuff, but I would like to do that someday. I'd like to figure out a better dust collection system for it. Send along your ideas if you have them. That's great. Of course, I'll have to do the VFD properly, and I want to get my power feeder mounted on or close to this anyway. Some folks have some ideas of extending the table out and around a little bit, so that it can still be fastened right to the machine securely. Anyway, I'll post some pictures of some ideas I have. But anyway, here it is. Thanks again to Jack and some other folks who sent ideas for how to fix this up. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna enjoy this little machine. Thanks, guys.